Today I'm joined by Alex Duncan. Alex is the founder and director of the Teenage Tutor, a tuition agency with a large team of student tutors who are available to help younger pupils prepare for exams. So, hi Alex.
Hello, nice to meet you.
Yeah, and you likewise. Um, Alex, for anyone who doesn't know the Teenage Tutor, tell us a bit more about what you do and who you do it for.
So, we are a tuition agency that originally started in Kent in 2018. So, we've been running quite a long time and we've built up a good local reputation because of that. The idea is that it's kids helping younger kids. So, it's high achieving students that are on our team that have achieved the top grades in their exams across a large range of subjects. And they then help students a couple years below them achieve high grades as well. We really believe in that model and we like the fact that it's something different to what kids are already getting in the classroom. It's kind of complementary to that larger group learning, and it's not just another teacher. It's like a different perspective.
Brilliant. I think yeah, such a great idea. Yeah. So what? So you actually started this business yourself about 7 or 8 years ago, is that right?
Yeah, so I was just about to do my GCSEs myself,
Mm.
and I was working for another local company, kind of doing a few hours of tutoring. Um, they weren't like set up to have younger people work for them. That was like a novel thing that they were trying.
Yeah.
And they just weren't very flexible. They were also taking a large amount of the profit, which is their business model. And, that's like how people run business. I'm not going to complain about that, but I didn't like it. So
Yeah.
I wanted to do it my way.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great. Okay. So when you first sort of set up, what were your goals for the Teenage Tutor? Because you sort of said there you wanted to do it your way. What how did you envisage the Teenage Tutor? What were your goals for it?
I just wanted to have really fair pricing. That was the main reason that I set it up. When we started, or when I was tutoring for this other company, they were taking about 80% of the profit of what they were charging the parents. And I
Right.
was quite happy with the money that I was left with, but it kind of didn't sit well with me that these people were paying quite a premium for this service and I
Yeah.
wasn't seeing that profit. So I kind of slashed the costs, undercut most people in the area with the tuition price that we were charging. And my dad had kind of like, we'd sat down at the kitchen table and all discussed like, should we really do this? Is this a good idea? And he was like, no, I think you can do this. Like, just get behind yourself and put yourself out there, have a few clients. And then it just gradually grew really organically, really. Like when I was filled up with the number of slots I wanted to do, I just asked one of my friends who was doing really well at school. And she was getting all nine. So I was like, well, do you want to do some tutoring? And my brother was high achieving as well. So I think it's nice to recruit from your family. You can trust them. So it just
Yeah.
kind of grew from there, really.
Okay. So it just organically grew
Yeah.
into this sort of fully fledged business over the last sort of seven years or so. Because how many tutors do you currently have on your books?
We've got about 60 on the team at the moment. Yeah.
Wow. So it's really, really, really grown. So as you say, your tutors are mostly teenagers and students. What makes that model work so well? And how do you maintain sort of quality and professionalism, at that scale? Because now you've got 60, that must be a challenge.
Yeah, so I do interview all of the tutors that join the team. I do like when tutors are recommended by other tutors on the team because I think they've got kind of a respect for the business. Because hearing about it from one of their friends that enjoys working for them, I think that's like a nice way to recruit people. So we do a lot of it kind of through reputation of people that have enjoyed working for us. A lot of them are my friends or my brother's friends because we trust them to uphold our reputation. It's kind of mine and my brother's name, Kieran. So I don't think I said his name. I do this with Kieran, and it's our names on the line if something goes wrong. So yeah, we always say that if someone is complaining they don't enjoy a service, they'll tell 1,000 people. If they like your service, they'll tell, 1 to 10. So it was really important for us that we had a really good service that people wanted to use and wanted to come back for and recommend. So our tutors are really important to that.
And look, what would you say, links into that? What would you say the biggest challenges that you've faced over those years of growing your business, obviously, that biggest challenges?
I think it's hard, the time management. Like this isn't my full-time job. So I'm
Mm.
a medical student. I'm currently studying at the University of Cambridge. I'm in my final year now. So from next year, I'm going to be a doctor, which is, exciting, but also I don't know how that's all going to fit in with everything that I'm doing and running this as well. So Kieran's really integral to that because he takes, we work together really well. Um, but also like investing in some automation has helped us recently. I was quite protective over doing things myself and my way for quite a long time, but kind of allowing us to pay for a bit of extra software and investing in some like IT services to help us is definitely going to help us keep up the growth and the service that we're able to provide, I think.
And you mentioned there about, you're studying medicine at Cambridge. So
Mhm.
you're running a fast sort of growing tutoring company while also studying medicine at Cambridge. I mean, that sounds really intense. I mean, how do you balance the two? What have you learned about managing pressure and managing your time?
Yeah. I do work best when I'm busy. I think you really learn to work efficiently when you're busy because you have limited hours a day and you have to do the most with them. I've kind of learnt that from a young age, I think. Even when I was at sixth form, our teachers would say to us, you're better off doing four A levels than three A levels because you learn how to manage your time better when you have less free time.
Yeah.
I was even asked this question in my Cambridge interview actually, because I'd written about the teenage tutor in my personal statement, and the interviewer said to me, like, how are you going to keep this up when you're at uni? And I was like, well, I enjoy both of these things so much, I want to keep them up. And I do think that part of the reason I got into Cambridge is because they saw I had this business, and I don't think there was many 18-year-olds applying to Cambridge that had set this up. So I think that definitely like helped set me apart. And even though, it doesn't make us £1 million, I do think that it is like such an important skill that we've been able to learn and develop.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that being busy is just helpful for me.
Okay.
Yeah.
And we talked about there the some of the biggest challenges that you've faced in growing the business over the last sort of 7 or 8 years. What if you had a magic wand? What what challenge would you currently solve in your business right now?
It's a really good question. I don't know. I think one of the things that we've done is kind of accept that we're quite happy with the level of growth.
Mhm.
And especially because we have this is always going to be a second income for us, and this is something we've got other things going on in our lives. And Kieran is currently doing a placement at Great Ormond Street in London, so he's really busy. And I'm, studying medicine and I'm on placement doing shift work. So this was always going to be something that was going to supplement our lives. And, the cost of living at the moment, it is like really lovely that we're able to have this opportunity to have a second income and help ourselves save for a house and do some exciting things in our lives in the future. So I don't know exactly what I would change with the magic wand. I think that automation stuff is really helpful, and maybe I would go back and maybe implement that a little bit earlier so that that would have freed up some of my time over the last couple of years that I would have spent chasing payments and doing all of those things that now our software does. So
Yeah.
maybe I would have just given myself the courage to do that a little bit earlier.
And Alex, you've supported hundreds of students in the UK and also overseas as well. What do you think parents value most about your approach compared with traditional tutoring approach and agencies?
I really like this question. Thank you. When people say to us like, "Oh, why should we trust a teenager to do this?"
Yeah.
The fact that a child is even seeking tuition, my answer would be, well, what is their teacher not doing?
Mm.
So I think if something isn't working, why not try something else? And I think that that is where we kind of come in as that complementary service. If your child isn't benefiting from their current teacher helping them, or maybe they're just falling behind in a couple of subjects, or they've just lost motivation or confidence in something. We get that a lot, especially with maths. If a child's been kind of moved down a set or something like that, that can really have an effect on their confidence and feeling like they can't do it. Whereas our tutors are so passionate about that subject, they love that subject, they're studying it at a higher level, they can have that one-to-one time with a student every week and really kind of pick them back up and get them back on track. And the tutors have done that exam themselves. They've got through it, they've got those top marks, they know what to say, they know the top tips to help you revise, they know how to help you study. And that's something that always teachers teach as well. revision techniques, study techniques, memory techniques. That's something we can really help with as well.
Okay, great. And from your perspective, Alex, what are the biggest academic pressures that teenagers face today? And actually, add on questions to that. How does your team help to bridge that gap?
I think looking back, obviously I've been through the system myself. I think looking back, the hardest thing is the breadth that you have to learn at
Mm,
such a young age. And when people are between ages of 11 and 16, they are learning, humanities, languages, sciences, maths, arts. That's a huge range of knowledge that someone might not necessarily be interested in all of those things. They might find some of those things really difficult. It's quite difficult to switch your brain between all the different skills that's needed to learn all of those different subjects. And to do that all within one school day, every single hour, I just think is crazy that we have to do that and that we did that. Whereas now when I'm studying medicine, that's one subject, and I love that subject. Maybe
yeah,
you could say it's split up into pharmacology and biochemistry, but at the end of the day, they're very interlinked and they use similar skills to learn all of those things. So yeah, I think the hardest thing is breadth. And if you have a tutor that can help you with that one skill that maybe you find a bit more difficult, um, that can really help kind of just supplement that learning throughout the week.
I agree. There's a lot there to learn nowadays, isn't
Yeah,
there? Absolutely, that breadth of subjects, etc. And as you say there, I've never really thought about it, but they're all sort of very different, aren't they? Between the difference between maths and English and a science and something that is more art focused or something. So yeah, no, I get that. That makes sense. And if there was one thing that you could, well, actually, let me change that in a different way. What's been your biggest learning of being a business owner? Oh, since you set up your business, what's been your biggest learning?
I think that you don't need extensive experience to have
Mhm.
a business.
Yeah.
And especially now I see my friends like graduating from university and they're applying for all of these roles and they're being rejected because they don't have any experience. It's
Mm.
frustrating because I was 15, I didn't know anything about doing a business and just being able to try and learning on the job, I think was the most helpful thing for me. So yeah, I think believing in, it's a bit cheesy, but like believing that actually you can do it. And if you have the idea and you have the motivation, you're gonna try your best and you're gonna put your all into it. So yeah, I think definitely that extensive experience isn't always necessary.
Yeah, true. No, no, I get that. I think it's and also I think there's two things to think about there as well. Is one, the knowledge and experience in the industry that you're in. So like for you, it's about, tutoring and that sort of thing, but also the knowledge and experience of running a business. Because they're those to be a successful business owner like yourself, actually, you need to be good at running a business. Um, Not necessarily when you start out, but you need to learn it as you're going, because you might be really good at tutoring, but actually what you've done, which I think is really great, is that you're obviously really good at tutoring because that's what you started out doing it yourself. But actually also what you've been really good in, and you've obviously learned and built up on the way, is actually how to run a successful business. Um, and with that in mind, I mean, looking ahead, what's the vision for the Teenage Tutor over the next few years? In terms of growth or new services or something bigger. What's the plans?
So yeah, the reason we'd kind of invested in some of the automation and a new website and things like that over the last year is because my brother and I had had a conversation where we were talking about the fact that I'm going to graduate and he's going to graduate soon. And what does that mean for the teenage tutor? Are we going to be able to do this when we're working full time? Like, how do we recruit tutors when we're a bit more out of touch from the sixth forms that we were at? How does that work? And I think we both agreed that it feels a shame to throw away what we've built by kind of giving it up. So maybe if we invest in some things, maybe that might, take away from some of the money we're earning. But if that means that we can keep earning money for, 5, 10 more years, however long we're able to continue, I think that it's worth us doing that. So that's what we've done. So our plan is to definitely keep this going, as I said, kind of as a second income, just to fulfill our lives in that other way. And also, I really believe in the business. And I also think that if we disappeared, I think someone else would come up in our space because it is quite a good idea and it definitely filled a gap in the market within our area. that a lot of people were looking for. So I kind of didn't want someone else to take over either.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the key thing that stands out to me, and it's great that you're thinking about that as well. The key thing that stands out to me there is, well, firstly, don't ever let it disappear, because you're providing a great service and there's value to your business as well. Um, so, even if you decide that you can't give it the time and attention that it requires, there's value there. Don't let it disappear. Um, but the second thing that I like that you're thinking about is, okay, how can you carry this on um, and still give that great service, still give a service to people that need it? Um, and that is thinking about things like, okay, how can we automate what we do? How can we, and it might be that you need to get somebody in to run the business for you. And that's when you truly become a business owner, Alex.
Yeah, that is
Because,
scary. I do think I'm definitely a bit of a control freak.
yeah,
I think that's probably been one of my weaknesses while running this is that I'm very particular about it being my way. And that's probably because it started as just me. So it feels like it's kind of all on my shoulders a bit. So yeah, I'm glad I've got Kieran trusted by my side to do some of this as my second brain. But yeah, I think the idea of bringing someone else in is definitely scary, but I do understand that that might be necessary in the future.
look, I always say that the great thing is to create yourself options in the future of what you do with your business. Um, and those options could be a number of different things. It could be selling the business and going, right, we've taken it as far as we can with it's worth some money, let's sell it. That
Hmm.
could be one option. Okay. To be able to, by the way, to be able to sell a business, it needs to run without you.
Yeah.
Um, then the second thing is to actually get somebody else to run the business for you. To go, okay, well, I'll truly be the business owner, but somebody runs the business for us. And then you get a passive income from the business. You're not actually working in the business. Other people are doing that, but you get the opportunity of taking dividends and also the growth in the value of the business as well. So the key thing is to create those options and then say, okay, which one of these suits us best in our personal circumstances? Um, and obviously, you're a bit young for this, but there's even in the future the opportunity of handing the business down to the next generation. Um, so yeah, multiple options is a key thing.
Yeah.
Alex, there's one question that I always like to um, ask people that are kind enough to join me on this discussion, and it feels a bit weird asking you this because of your age. But the question is, if you could if you could go back and speak to an 18-year-old you,
Mhm.
what advice would you give yourself?
I would say well done to her for sure. I think she was doing pretty well at 18.
Yeah,
I think that so 18 I was that was just before the pandemic. So I was 18 in 2020. So it was a big year. And also it was quite a big year for the teenage tutor because we actually transitioned to being online in 2020. So prior to that, for the last couple of years before that, we had been doing everything by the tutors traveling to the students' homes.
yeah,
So actually, if I was to go back to 18-year-old Alex, I would say you should have moved to online a long time ago because it allowed us to really expand the service we were offering because the tutors are no longer driving 20 minutes to get to a parent's house. They can do two back-to-back lessons. So we've completely grown our service of how many hours we can offer in a week. We've managed to recruit more tutors because we don't have to recruit tutors that just have a driving license or have a car. The tutors are getting kind of more bang for their buck because they're able to just do the hour and get paid for that hour, and it's much more efficient for them. And that's one of the things we like about the teenage tutor is that it offers that employment to those younger people that, don't want to work all Saturday, they've got studying to do. So that's nice. And yeah, so I would have said to Alex, don't be scared about online. People will still enjoy your service. People want help because the schools are shut. They need you. So step up and recruit some tutors and get going.
brilliant. I like that. Great bit of advice. And I think it's great that what you sort of said there, because as well, being online, it means that actually you can help more students as well, can't you? Because
100%. Yeah.
as you say, people aren't having to drive between places. Actually, you can then take on more students per tutor. So yeah,
Yeah.
great. You can help more people. That's brilliant.
And it also enabled us to keep tutors on for longer because at that time we were kind of having to recruit tutors every couple of years because when they
Right.
went to university, they couldn't tutor.
Of course, yeah.
But now the tutors, when they go to university, can continue tutoring online. And that meant we could offer A-level tutoring because the people that had done their A-levels could continue to tutor. But
Yeah.
before that, we weren't able to offer that service. So,
Brilliant. Yeah, it's just
yeah,
something else to add to it. That's great. Well, look, Alex, I really appreciate you taking the time to speak with me today and sharing more about your business, but also your journey as well. So thank you very much.
thanks for having me. Thank you so much.